The House of Representatives Minority Caucus has expressed deep sorrow over the widespread floods that have affected several major cities in Nigeria, including Maiduguri, Bayelsa, Bauchi, resulting in loss of lives and significant property damage. In a statement that was signed by the caucus leader, Representative Kingsley Chinda, the lawmakers extended their sympathies to affected families and called for urgent emergency relief efforts. The caucus commended humanitarian organizations for their work and urged all levels of government to intensify their emergency response. Additionally, they stressed the importance of proactive measures to prevent future disasters rather than relying on reactive responses after the damage is done. Flood. We've been hearing of different other states, but I'm sure a lot of people don't even know that Bayelsa is already affected, and there already talks about, River State also being affected, which is the state that we are in. That's why I mentioned that particular state. So there's nobody who would say, oh, it's not coming to my doorstep, or it's not going to affect me in any way. You definitely would have family members or friends somewhere, somehow. If you don't, Nigerians who are affected are your brothers. We're all from the same country. So this is definitely something that we should talk about and also get to analyze and make sure that it doesn't, keep reoccurring. But let's get your thoughts on this story.
Okay, I think this is something that somehow, either directly or indirectly, affects every Nigerian. If it doesn't affect you as a person, it might affect your business or somebody that is very close to you or a friend, So it's something that Nigerians should take very seriously, especially Nigerian government. Yes, the minority caucus leader have said something. That particular platform, they have issued a statement. But I want to say this. Let it not be because they are of the minority or opposition that is making them issue this kind of statement. It shouldn't have any form of political on that just to attack the present government. If that is the reason behind it, believe it, their push and their statement may not also yield any positive result. But if they are sincere making this particular statement, that is what it should be. But also knowing that the minority leader has also been in the house, for how many years now? I think for more than 3 tenors or thereabout. This is not the first time we're experiencing a flood in Nigeria. So I thank God it's coming from an experienced leader. So if they have resolved to speak up at this particular point in time, let it be with a very sincere motive that they want the problem to be addressed. They want this issue to be salvaged, and let it not be that it's a way of attacking or criticizing the present government, because the issue of flooding is not just starting today. And then also supporting that their statement. You see, at times, I wonder if our government, is it that the government is so handicapped that they don't actually know what to do? Last year, we recorded flooding. And for the past 5 years or thereabout, the issue of flooding I can remember very vividly, from 2017, because then I was very much active at the grassroots. It got to the point, even in my own area, the deputy governor of my state had to visit my area, just to take on-site report or record and all of that. And after the visit, nothing was done, believe me, till date, since 2017. So it's the same thing when it comes to the federal. The issue of flooding is not new. What proactive measure, what decisive action has the government taken all this while to ensure that these flood-prone areas, that something significant is being done to help the people once the flooding season comes? It doesn't give any signal. It can happen at any time. But believe me, prior to the point of this invasion happening, the government already knows that these are flood-prone areas. And we expect the government to take proactive measure before the emergence. And then after the thing must have happened, just like it has happened in Bayelsa now and Maiduguri and some part of the country, how responsive is the government? in terms of relief material, in terms of ensuring that the people lives, those that are able to survive, that their life is being protected and secured, you still experience some form of lackadaisical and sluggish attitude.
We'll get to talk about the proactivity of governments, the reactive measures that we expect them to take. But at the moment, for the parts of the country that are already experiencing this, lives are being lost and properties being lost, damaged, money's gone down the drain, houses and all of that. Let's look at the statements that are being made. Yesterday, we had a report that the federal government, sympathized with these people. Today, we're hearing a report that the minority, that's the reps now, sympathize with these people. It's not a problem to sympathize with them. We sympathize with. Should we also report that Enidoye sympathize? We also sympathize with these people, but we want to see more.
Sure.
Although when we heard that the federal government sympathized with these people, we also heard, relief materials here and there, some money is being released here and there. We're not saying the government has not done anything concerning the flooding. But your sympathy right now is not what we need. Your sympathy should actually produce a result.
Significant result.
Do you understand? So let's look at the reactive measures now that are being put on ground now. Currently, when monies are released, a lot of times, it begs the question, will these monies really get to the actual victims? Secondly, for the places where camps now, where these victims are probably being kept, what is the state of these camps? What are the measures that are put on ground on those camps? Because a lot of times we heard them complaining over and over again about the condition of this. Now let's look at the reactive measures. From your analysis, you're a Nigerian, you probably have been following the story. What do you think? How would you rate government's reaction to this particular case of flooding?
Of course, we can't get good rating because there is no form of active preparation before the flood invasion. Even
now after the flood, how reactive have we even been?
For me, is below average. Is below average because the people, for instance, properties have been lost. People's life have been lost, and then issue of sympathy is coming up. The government is here to come up with a very clear blueprint or picture how to protect the ones and take care of the ones that are left, those that survived the flooding. Okay. And then before you now get to their property, to their business and all of that, believe me, well, I'm not being pessimistic now, but I see it to still be business as usual. Just after this period, the whole story, everything will just go down the drain and the people will start life afresh. That's the way I look at it. But we will not stop appealing.
And we won't stop hoping.
Yes, definitely we will not stop hoping. So I want to appeal to the government to please, aside the reactive measures, they should look forward to a lasting or more permanent or significant solution to this particular problem. For goodness sake, cities can be upgraded. We can have more cities within a particular location, a particular state. Those in those flood-prone areas, the government can take that decisive measure or proactive measure, develop new site for them. There are so many places in this country, even within those states, that a flood is ravaging the people. There are some undeveloped areas that the government can consciously develop those places and make it a place that will be very convenient and suitable for the people. Over time, you gradually move these people out of those flood-prone areas to a very more conducive environment. I think that is what we expect the government to do. There is no amount of reactive measure by the government that will address the issue or solve the problem or help the people regain what they have lost. I don't see that coming.
The dam issue now, a lot of people are saying that this is not just a natural disaster. Besides the fact that we heard notice before it happened, and then now it has happened, right? And before we even heard the notice and the forecast and all of that, it is something that should have been prepared for.
Sure.
Okay, now let's look at the states where it was mentioned earlier that these particular states, they are likely to also experience this flood if this happens with the dam. And now that has happened, and now we have some states already been affected. It means the water is moving, and it's moving to other states.
Yeah.
But I have searched, and I haven't really seen measures, enough measures in the news. Maybe these measures are carried out, but they're not reported, right? But I've not seen enough measures being carried out by these state governments where they have said this state is prone to experiencing flood. Now the water has not gotten to our states. How much have we done to make sure that we know the flood-prone areas, like you said?
Sure.
How much have we really done to make sure that these areas and the people, do we have to wait till when the flood comes to our states?
That's the Nigerian factor.
Then the government will come out. Then the governor will come out and say, "Oh, all of the people staying in so area, I see that you're already inside water. Can you please can you please move?"
And then they will now seize the opportunity to also empower their faithfuls, empower some of those. We have seen a lot in this country, and we keep saying that it will be difficult for any person, any government or public officer to convince me as a person based on policies until I see those things affecting the people positively. Believe me, like you said, some of these states that has already been mentioned, the government will not do anything, because doing something nice like the government spending something that will benefit the masses. But once flood finally invades the area, you now see measures, relief materials. They start calling on doctors, they deploy people and start taking pictures and all of that. But prior to that incident, where we are supposed to have been, fully prepared and organized, waiting for that particular thing to happen, peradventure it happens, you will not see any proactive measure. You will not see any significant move. But once it finally happens, you will now see proposal here and there, because they have interest. And what is the interest? Somebody will be making something out of it to the detriment of the masses.
No, we don't have to channel everything down to politics. How do you see politics in this already?
Yeah, but that is what we've been experiencing. That is how it is. Otherwise, if our government are to be very sensitive, and the need of people, the challenge of the people they are leading is their utmost priority or concern, that's addressing the challenges. Do you want to tell me that any reasonable and responsive government, having received that kind of alert from NIMET and all relevant agencies, will keep mute and then praying that it shouldn't happen, waiting for it to happen before they take active measure? No, I don't think that is possible. So
maybe we would have to go do more research, especially on river states, to find out how much have been done. So we don't completely say that, because I've not heard.
Well, me too, I've not heard. So if something is going on and it's not in it's not in public domain, it's not in the media space, then I don't think is there any way the government would do something that has bearing or that has something to do with the people, and then the people will not be aware. Probably maybe after this show today or subsequent ones, the government will begin to act in that direction and then make whatever they are doing public, and then for people to be aware. But as it stands now, before I came to this show this morning, I never heard that the state government, is doing anything to that effect. Maybe the plan is still ongoing, but there is no time.
I pray the water doesn't come before the plants.
It has already started
before
coming.
The plants finish, because if it's in Bayelsa, that means we should start wearing our boots. It has started
coming in my area. Some persons' forms are already up.
Really, people are already preparing for it.
I'm telling you, some persons have already laid two coaches block, in front of their compound and all of that. So it's just moving. We don't know where it is coming from, though. That may be likened to normal flood, but believe me, if that is beginning to happen, that means something serious than that in no distant time can be recorded by those staying very close to water areas.
We've had issues, we've had cases where the flood was almost to the roof level. Times like that, how do you want to put your double foam or something?
You just run for your dear life.
People should start, I think we should start doing the little that we can while we expect the government to do what they are supposed
That's it.
do. All right, we also sympathize with all of those who have lost their lives and properties with this ongoing flood in Nigeria. Our hearts are with you, and we are doing our bit to also call on the government to do more, and also humanitarian agencies to also do more to make sure that the effect is not, so much on these people. Now let's move on to the next story.